This is a stoush many decades old, from the US-sponsored coup of 1953 to standoffs at sea and assassinations of military leaders.
We caught him in the act and terminated him.
United States and Iran relations have been fractious, but now it might be approaching a breaking point.
Things are tense between the United States and Iran, no doubt. And they're tense for a reason.
For the moment, at least, this is the US weapon of choice. The US this week launched another volley of sanctions.
Today I will take the first action under this new executive order by sanctioning the Iranian Ministry of Defense and Armed Forces logistics.
The latest attack, so-called snapback sanctions. The US claims Iran is violating a deal to limit the country's nuclear program. A deal the US walked out of in 2018.
Now, because after 2 years of trying to destroy the deal, the US still has not managed to do so, a desperate argument has been put forward by the Trump administration claiming that it actually still is a participant by definition, and as a result, it can trigger the snapback.
Iran is struggling under a mountain of sanctions. Its GDP shrunk around 13% since 2018, when the US implemented a range of restrictions targeting Iran's energy, shipping and financial sectors. It's part of the Trump administration's maximum pressure campaign to try to curb Tehran's influence in the region, its sponsoring of terrorist groups and proxy wars.
We stand ready to respond to future Iranian aggression, and we remain committed to doing our part in the administration's maximum pressure campaign.
The question is, how is it affecting U.S. national security for the United States to make Iran the organizing principle for its Middle East policy? Well, one of the outcomes of it will be that the United States will be stuck in the region with a large number of troops in the region for the foreseeable future if it continues to go down this path.
The clock is ticking to turn things around. Iran holds presidential elections early next year. The current president risked a lot in reaching out to the US and agreeing to the 2015 nuclear deal.
There's a very high likelihood that the next Iranian president will not only be a hardliner, but probably will be quite hesitant to engage in any diplomacy with the United States, mindful of the fact that it was the US that cheated and betrayed the nuclear agreement.
And as the US forms closer ties with other regional players, including through the recent Abraham Accords, Iran risks being left out in the cold and being the United States' permanent Middle East target.
It is helpful for the continuation of U.S. militarism in the Middle East to have an enemy that we're actually pursuing. And without that enemy, yes, the justification for a forward deployed military posture in the Middle East in which we have 60,000+ troops on the ground there and are constantly getting dragged into low-level conflicts. You know, without an enemy, sure, support for that kind of thing might dry up.
With just weeks from the US presidential election and just a few months from Iran's, either leader may make a sudden, career-defining geopolitical play. One may dare to diffuse or ignite this long simmering stoush.